Hello, I'm Eric Snodgrass, and thank you for watching today's Midday Western U.S. Regional Forecast video brought to you by Nutrien Ag Solutions. I think it's important that we start here today for the Western region. We're looking at the growing degree day unit anomalies beginning on March 1st and going through the 19th of August. And overall, when I look across the Western United States, we don't see too many folks that are too far away from, well, right around climatological average. Yes, it has been cool in parts of Montana and some parts of the Intermountain West. And while we haven't seen loads of extreme heat down here in parts of Southern California, Arizona, and parts of Nevada, we have been hot as of late. What I think will be important to do, though, here is to take a look at how we have received our heat so far this year. And so what I want to do is I'm going to walk you down the West Coast. We're going to start first in Yakima. Let me get those drawings up there so you can see it. So I'm going to take you right here into parts of the Columbia Basin. Let's just take a look at what we've got. Now, it's interesting to see the temperature patterns because we saw early this year, before, this is in February and March, very, very cold temperatures here. But you notice every time that the heat does come in, we're looking here where these blue lines peak toward the top of this graph, which would be our records highs, and these are our record lows. The heat's come in, and at times it's been very, very brief. And we went a long time here at the end of June and through much of July. See this right in through here where our high temperatures just didn't get outside of the normal range. And we've had some cooler weather at times as well, which is why we see in this area just a slight positive value of our growing degree day units. Let's keep sliding further to the south. I'll now take you down to Eugene. So we're down here in part of Oregon, and it's the same story. We've had a couple of times where it did get very hot over the last 90 days or so, but outside of that, we really have not been getting too far outside of the normal range. And at times we've even had some pretty cool air in here. Going down into the Sacramento Valley here, so I'm going to take you to Red Bluff, which is right about here on our map. Same story. When the heat did come in, it was quite brief, and we spent much of June and July with cool temperatures. Notice we don't see a lot of peaks where I just drew that line. And to finish this up, let's even go a little bit further south down to Fresno. So we're now down into the San Joaquin Valley. And even though temperatures at times have been getting up well above 100 degrees, remember, our max heat's way up here. So this is not like we've been setting new records, and we've seen a lot of our temperatures hovering right in here in the normal range. Why I'm telling you this is because as we look forward, I want to know if there's any changes coming, okay? First thing we need to see some changes in is what's going on with the southwestern monsoon, especially over here in parts of Arizona. That particular region has been exceptionally dry. New Mexico, up through Colorado, we've been seeing it. Parts of Wyoming, we've been seeing the monsoonal flow on the other side of the continental divide, but we are certainly in delay here. So I want you to pay attention to this as we go into the longer range forecast as well, because you're looking here at the last 30 days in terms of the percent of normal rainfall. I think the biggest story is told right here. We're going to look at our trough ridge system across North America every 6 hours for the next 15 days. And you can see here that we favor more ridging along the west coast, more troughing in the central and eastern part of the United States. And we see at times, as we get to the end of this is just a follow-up to what we talked about in our video yesterday. We tend to see more higher than normal heights pushing along the west coast of the United States and also pushing here along the east coast of North America. And what I'm seeing here is with these higher heights, this is just probably the sensible heat transfer off of the much above average temperatures in the water that is here in the Gulf of Alaska. Now, we do lose signal, of course, as we get out into September, but overall, I think you're going to see that this pattern, especially as it evolves here, is going to favor above average temperatures for a while, which will be quite a deviation from what we've seen throughout this summer. Now, starting you off in the day here on Tuesday, the only places we're concerned about here on the western side of the U.S. for heat's going to be down here in the desert where we do have excessive heat excessive heat warnings out. But as we move forward in this forecast, take a look at what the national blended model's picking up on in terms of precipitation. The major things I want you to see is we do have a trough that's sweeping through middle of this week that will be bringing chances of rain actually to this whole area. So we're going to watch for some chances of rain in here. Certainly much lower as you get over the mountains into the basin, but still some chances of rain. What you see here is also what you don't see, and that is you don't see the blended model bringing in a big pulse of moisture into this area, telling us that the southwestern monsoon's going to get cranking again through parts of Arizona. So it's still lacking, in my opinion, about the strength of that monsoon. Now take a look at it. We can look at it another way here. I like these animations. This is showing you precipitable water compared to normal. So whenever you see these colors, we're seeing drier than normal atmospheric conditions, and this would be more humid than normal atmospheric conditions. And what we want to be seeing is we want to see for Arizona, we want to see a big pulse right in through here of these red colors telling us that, hey, the moisture's coming in and it's going to rain. But as I animate this forward, you don't see that, okay? In fact, you see this tropical system stealing a lot of that moisture. And over time, I see more drier air moving in than I do see more humid air coming into the region. So when do we have our chances of precipitation? Let me start this animation off for you and show you right here. This is getting into this evening, about 9 o'clock in the evening. And you do notice that in the early morning hours tomorrow and Wednesday, some coastal showers moving into parts of the Pacific Northwest. You can see them right there. So this is moving through the early morning tomorrow on Wednesday and spreading throughout the day Wednesday into Thursday morning. So that's just basically coming west-east through Oregon, Washington, eventually over into Idaho and Montana. So that's the main corridor for seeing rainfall, at least throughout this week as our trough comes in. But remember, after that, a ridge builds into place. So let's take a look at what our temperatures are going to do, because the next several days, I think we're going to be seeing some near average to slightly cooler than average temperatures. Certainly the day on Tuesday, we're looking at temperatures in the Columbia Basin in the low to mid 90s. Through the Snake River Valley, we're talking about low to mid 90s as well. But as we progress through the week, Wednesday temperatures a little bit cooler, Thursday a little bit cooler. This is when that trough is fully in place here before it ejects into the Canadian prairies. We got the cooler weather in place. So warm Tuesday, Wednesday, then cooling off for Thursday. But our temperatures rebound on Friday into Saturday and Sunday as well, as you can see here toward the end of this animation, back toward what we call climatologically average. Now remember, this is before the bigger ridge becomes established in the west. Starting off on Tuesday here in the in the Central Valley of California. Remember, much of our heat is down here where we see temperatures well above 110 degrees, where the excessive heat warning is. But take a look at the valley here. Relatively pleasant day. We have temperatures in the low to mid 90s, which compared to average is slightly cooler than average. As you get into Wednesday, same story, but watch as we get toward the end of the week. We start to get a little more heat in place as the ridge slides west. So this is Thursday's high temperatures. You can see they're getting in triple digits up in the Sacramento Valley. And then for Friday, now we're all in the upper 90s, lower 100s. Same thing for Saturday into Sunday and Monday as well. So that's when the heat really starts to pour on. So you can notice it maybe a little bit better if I show you the next 5 days in terms of temperature anomalies. Initially, remember, we have the trough coming through, keeping things cool here in the Pacific Northwest. And we're going to see this ridge slowly move to the west with time, such that by days 5 through 10, now we've got the cool air coming in here and the much above average temperatures really occupying the western part of the United States. Getting you out to days 10 through 15, so this is now getting us all the way up to the night of September the 3rd. We can still see that the western part of the United States hanging onto the warm bias. And even going a week, 10 days deep into September, we see a similar story with much of the western United States hanging on to a slight warm bias here. So it's important to kind of understand this, and what we're going to be discussing in tomorrow's long-range outlook is how long is the heat around for? Does it tend to slide to the west and stay there, therefore increasing our fire risk as we move toward the heart of our fire season? You know, we've been down on fire activity so far this year. What influences are El Nino playing on this? Because we've seen an interesting setup in ocean temperatures across the Pacific. We're going to discuss those again as we look out far into September and even a little bit into October tomorrow in tomorrow's long-range forecast. So I hope you look forward to it, but with that, I'll go ahead and wrap up this West Coast forecast. Thank you for watching. Have a great week, and we will talk to you again soon. Thank you.